You ready?
Okay, welcome everyone to our Tuesday night class for the Family History Center at Sandy Granite Family History Center. We're glad that you're able to attend this evening. We're especially uh, pleased, gratified to have Karen Andrews be our instructor this evening. She's going to be teaching on indexing skills. And this is something that all of us need because we all need to support the indexing effort. She taught a class on beginning indexing last semester for us, and she's back with kind of a part two, and we're excited to hear that. So we have you all muted, and then near the end of the session, you'll be able to unmute and ask Karen any particular questions that you'd like to about indexing. So with that, Karen, thank you so much, and take it away.
Okay. I'd really love to have questions during, or if I run out of something, we can go to questions.
Okay, so
Um,
we'll redo that then. Instead of waiting to the end, if you have a question, you can go ahead and interrupt and ask Karen as we go.
yeah, we don't have that big a group, so I think that would be great. So I don't know how many of you were at my last class or what level of indexers you are. If you want to send a little chat to Bob, maybe he can clue me in on that. But we'll just give it a start here. I want to start with a quote from President Nelson. He said, "While worshiping in the temple is presently not possible, I invite you to increase your participation in family history, including family history research and indexing. I promise that as you increase your time in the temple and family history work, you will increase and improve your ability to hear him." So it's a win-win. As we help others, we're better able to receive inspiration for ourselves. And that could also be inspiration for working on our lines as we're doing that. Since the temples have closed, I know of people who are indexing an equal amount of time they would be serving in the temple. So if they went once a month and did a session, they'd do 2 hours of indexing. I know some who have learned to index and feel good about doing family history because they haven't yet learned other things like researching. Indexing is a great beginning point into family history. Just the other day, I received a message through someone in my ward from a member who had moved out of our ward a couple of years ago, and he wanted to proudly tell me he had indexed 35,000 names in the last couple of years. So that's great. In 5 minutes or less of your time, you can make someone's name searchable and potentially lead them to receive their temple ordinances. Can also add additional records to be indexed to tell the bits and pieces of their story and of their family. So set a goal, a number of minutes a week, a day, a month, number of batches, or a number of names. Since I've got this page right up here, here's a progress goal, and you can see I'm not doing very well on my goals. I have down for 1,000 indexed and 1,000 reviewed, and I'm not reaching that goal very well this month, but it's a target you can do and look to meet your goal. So there's that resource there to help you along the way. Indexing helps make you a better researcher. You know what to look for and what kind of records are out there. Bob asked me to specifically talk a little bit about accuracy and that. And every time I find errors on indexed records, I cringe and wonder how many errors I've made. An example, the other day I was looking for a record and really had difficult finding it. It took me a lot of time. When I found it, the age was off by 50 years. The indexer thought it said 84 years old when actually they were 34 years old. And often the writing is difficult. There might be lines on it or crossed out or things made, but it does make it harder to find those records if they aren't indexed accurately. We do nowadays have the ability to correct indexes if you find mistakes, and I'm just going to show you a couple of those because I know a lot of people don't know that they can do that and make it easier for other people to find those records accurately. I'm just going to show you one. So my maiden name is Guy. This is my great uncle. And In this one, they indexed it GEO, which isn't too bad. But when I look at that one, I'm not able to correct that. It doesn't give me the option to correct the name, but if the date were wrong, it would give me the option to correct that or the place or the birthplace. Okay, so another example that this is Earl oh, I go back to Sidney Victor because the one I did want to show you was in 1940. The indexer, bless their heart, indexed their last name as Nye, which is the neighbor's last name. So they indexed both families. Do you see here, the family next door is Nye, and then the Gees here, they've indexed all these people as Nye. Now the computer actually did find that record as a hint, because all these people matched and all their ages matched and all their birthplaces matched. The only thing that didn't match was their surname. So they actually did throw that up as a record hint. But I have gone back and corrected that. So here was the original index. And then if you go here to view it, you can see that I've put in here that the image was indexed incorrectly. Guy is the surname, indexed incorrectly as Nye, the neighbor's surname. So that gives you a little idea about, you also highlight what needs to be corrected. So it needed to be corrected on all those individuals. So kind of interesting, but also interesting that the computer still was able to find this family even with the incorrect surname, because so many other things about them matched the other records. Now it's hard for me to get to my thing because of my Zoom up there. Oh, that's not where I wanted to go. Okay, now to Earl Linnell Love. This one is indexed as Lore, and actually my dad was working with me and found it. He's telling me, no, they lived here, blah, 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 blah. They would have lived there and everything.
We're not seeing your screen, Karen.
Oh, you're not?
Yeah, need to reshare.
Okay, hold on. I unshared it. I'm not sure where to find me. Oh, here. Now? Okay.
There you
that
go.
looks better. Thanks. The Zoom stuff is up on the top where my tabs are. That's why I guess I accidentally got rid of it. Okay, so here, again, here's an example. They indexed the whole family as Lore instead of Love, which that cursive R sometimes is just kind of hooks on there. But on this one also, I couldn't correct it. So there are some that can be corrected and some that can't. But look at those if you find an error or you want to try and make those more accurate so someone else could find them. We think our church records are more accurate. Hopefully they are, because we use peer reviewers and 2 people look at each image. So that's a great thing. But that's one way we can help our things be more accurate. I work with the youth, and I found some quotes from youth about indexing that I thought were interesting. And is it Robin that's going to be working with the youth?
Yes.
Good. This says indexing isn't, well, I was going to say, the spirit you feel while indexing is incredible as you envision the people you are doing the work for and imagine their happiness as they have a chance to progress toward eternal salvation. And then another youth, these aren't from our stake. This is from an article. It's so easy to index, and with every name, I think there's probably someone out there looking for it. Indexing taught me that some of the most important things we can do are simple, small things that make a big difference. And Megan says, I think my favorite part of indexing is being able to learn a little bit about the people of the names I decipher, like when they were born and where they were from. I love feeling the spirit as I help all of those people come one step closer being able to have their temple work done. So those are some sweet testimonies from our youth. But indexing isn't just for the youth. We need adults as well. We need people who can read well-written and poorly written cursive, and our youth struggle with that. I found that often a father and a child, or a young woman leader and a young woman, make a great team for indexing. The adults can read the cursive and recognize the old-fashioned names, and the youth are great at their computer skills. So indexing is fun to do together. A lot of times at the Family History Center, we'll be working and we'll grab one of the other consultants and say, what do you think this says? And two heads are better than one, and we usually come up with something we feel good about. So I want to move over to back to an example. These Porter County marriages are pretty interesting. I think they're almost all done now, but I grabbed a couple and saved them because I knew I was teaching tonight, and I wanted to show you a little bit about them. So this is basically kind of an index or a page that has, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I always first count, make sure I don't leave anyone out. I think that helps with the accuracy. So in this case, since it's already set up for 22 people, I would delete one of the things and just off the back, make sure I was down to 21. Now, this kind of thing could be done as a list, which would be kind of funny to do all the surnames last. I mean, the surnames in a column, and then this in a column, and then this in a column, and this. This is a little bit interesting because it's written with the surname first for the groom, and then the bride's given name is set up first. So that makes it a little bit interesting, a little bit tricky. But for this kind of a project, I would probably there's like 40 fields over here, 40 fields. They want a certifier, they want a witness, they want an officiator, they want a license county, they want the bride's number of marriages, the parents' names, and I don't have all that information. So I'm going to be blanking a lot of fields. And so I could do that a couple of different ways. I could either blank them all at the beginning or blank them at the end, but I could save a lot of time doing that rather than going through 40 fields with each one when I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fields that they want me to do. Well, probably 10 with this first page indicator. So a couple of things I can do is I can hide a lot of those fields, but I will eventually have to mark them blank. And I can either mark them blank from the form entry. So for example, this first one is, does it have the bride and groom's name on here? So I can blank, I can fill in all 21 of those by using this icon here and do that all at once. The line number, I'm going to blank. Don't ever type in blank. You need to use this field or Control B. And then I can copy that to all the rest of them. So I would either do that before or after, and I could do it from the table view, which I'll show you in a minute. But to set this up, I would go here to show and hide fields. I would actually hide these two because I've already done them. The groom's surname, the groom's given name. I'm going to hide residence, color, race, birth month, birthday. None of this information is on their birthplace. Bride's father. I would just hide those. Bride's given name, bride's surname, we need those. Birth year, birthplace, number of marriages, marriage place isn't on here. Marriage month, day, and year is on here. License county isn't on here. The officiator, he's the minister or the justice of the peace that are listed over here. The witnesses, we don't have any witnesses and we don't have any certifiers. So I'm going to take all those out. I'm also going to rearrange. Well, it looks like it's already in the right order. So we've got groom's surname, groom's given name, bride's given name, bride's surname. And then I would go ahead and fill in all this. I'm just going to quickly do this first one. Another thing I like to do is I like to always work from that top person, or you can use a ruler. It looks like my ruler's somewhere down here, probably. I don't know where my ruler is. Show ruler. There, we'll find it. Or use your ruler to help you make sure that you're accurate and staying on the right place. So the groom's surname, Staples, Abraham H. Lucinda Frame, marriage month, November 11th, 1868. I can also fill in 1868 for all these. Now that I said that, I better check and make sure they're all 1868. I don't want to mess up trying to speed along here. So they're all 1868. The officiator's given name is A. Lindley. Okay. And then I could go to my next one, either with my ruler or just using that top part as the guide. Okay, so when after I'd put in all these names, then I would be ready to add the blanks to the others, but I'm just going to show you how to do that now. I would probably do it on the table entry. You could have left all those there, but then you've got to tab through all of them if you don't hide them. So the table entry will not hide anything. There we go. All right, so on the table entry, here we are. And I've already filled in all these. You can see that all those say yes, clear down to 21. So I would go over here, the groom's place of residence, I would mark blank, and then use that same icon, fill it in blank all the way. Groom's race, blank, fill it in all the way. Groom's birth, you can also do a few of these at a time and then fill them in. Boom, boom. But it saves a lot of time of having to mark all these blank at the end or as you're going along, because that information does not even exist on this format, on this image. Any questions on that? Do you like that?
Yes, yes.
Now, there aren't always this kind of thing, but they're kind of fun when you run across it, especially these are all typed and look nice. So,
Can I
yeah,
ask
go
you-
ahead. Sure. Love
Okay, I've
questions.
been doing some reviewing, and sometimes I've come across these forms where people have clipped them and just, had a few entries. As a reviewer, should I be going back and making sure that all those other spots are filled in with the word blank?
Mhm. If it has an asterisk, like here, something has to be put in there. When there's an asterisk there, that's a required field. So that has to have the blank like this, not typed in. Now on this too, like you could review Or you could, like we were saying, you could do this in the column design. So here's the column design. Let me just go to the start. So here's the column design, first page indicator. And here's the line number, the groom's given name. So if I wanted to do this, I could fill it in like this, and then I could go Oscar J, John F. Just gives a little variety. It's not so much thinking about the person because you're taking the person apart from their whole name, but sometimes it's kind of a nice diversion for the data entry.
Yes.
Okay, so I could list all the groom's given names, and then on some formats or some projects, this is really, the column entry really is a fun way to do it. At least I think so. So I'll just show you a little bit more. So then this one would be the surnames. So you could do it this way. Those were all those ones I just filled in blank with the table format.
Mhm.
And now you can get yourself tripped up too, and then you have to spend time fixing it. But so if that looks like something that would work for you, you can use that. And if it works for it's not always available with every project. So I mean, here, if you wanted to do, say these were all November, which they're not, but say if they were, that would be really easy to mark November for all the months. And different projects. This is kind of a fun way to go.
Yes. If it has asterisk, then you need to put it in.
Yeah, the asterisk is a required field. So I think all of these are required. So all of these have to be, if I tried to submit it right now, it's going to tell me I have like hundreds, 570 issues that I haven't filled in. And some of those are because they're just like a blank field. Like the groom's mother's surnames, there's nothing there. So when I fill that in, it goes down like 21. But that's not a fun way to do it. I would do it off the other one. But anyway, so that gives you an idea on that. If you have any other questions on the columns or the table entry, those sometimes give you a little bit more ability to mark all those blank, or to do it a little different way if that helps you for your project. Okay, so when we go back here and we're looking to find batches, I'd recommend that you mark some of your favorites. As you can see, I've got England, Middlesex, and Virginia birth records. I'm hoping, Robin, that they'll have some beginning projects for you. Right now, this is the only beginning project. It's a pretty good one. I have one checked out, so I'll just open that. So there's my ruler now. Okay, so these, if this bothers you, that you don't need a ruler on this one. If this bothers you that it's like the black and white, you can change that right here with this icon to look like that. So that's a nice feature. Also, you can also change your contrast, change your brightness. Sometimes that really helps so that you can see it better. So this is a good one because the youth would like that one with the also with the typing. We found that they really struggle with the cursive. They just don't have time to learn cursive at school or practice, or so if you've got children or grandchildren, give them that project in the summer, practice working on their cursive so they can write it and read it. That's coming from a teacher for 3rd grade who taught cursive for a number of years. So All right. We talked about changing the field order. Oh, I don't think I showed you that though. So let's just go back. I think it was already set up. So we'll go back to the Indiana. And we want to go to the form entry. So if say the bride's name was, their surname was last as well, the way I could do it is, do you see this little arrow going both directions, arrow intersection something? I just kind of click on that and kind of lift it up to where I want it to go. So now the bride's surname is also first. Sometimes depending on they try and set it up what's best for you, what they think is best for you versus all the different projects in that field. But I'm going to switch it back. So when I try and finish this one, I won't get their names backwards. But you can move anything there. Sometimes too, it's nice to have the marriage day comes first or the month, depending on how it's written. And you might want to have the day before the month. You just switch it up there. And it makes it easier as you're working. Let's see. When you're working, someone at the Family History Center the other day was saying that someone was doing like a birth record or something, and they went and did all this extra stuff and filled in all these things, that information, like they went on Family Search or on Ancestry and tried to find this person and get all the information that was missing. That is not what you're supposed to be doing. Don't go overboard. It's not a bad idea sometimes to Google a name of a city that's written in cursive that is kind of illegible, and try and find the name of the city that's in that county so that it's a little more correct than putting in some asterisks or question marks, and so you can do a little teeny research like that, like maybe off an atlas or Google, but you do not need to go overboard with it. You don't spend a lot of time researching. It should reflect what's on the document. Okay, so if it's not on the document, mark it blank. Like I say, maybe if you're trying to figure out what the name of the town is, that's fine to do a little research on that and go from there. Like I wouldn't be trying to find out what this Mr. Wegner's minister name was. No, C. Wegner is perfectly fine. You know, this is what the document says. It should reflect the document. We're going to type what we see, and it should reflect the information on the document. Again, there's 3 important things. I think I shared this last time, but I've done a lot of indexing, but it's imperative with each project that I read and reread, if necessary, the project instructions. You're also going to make sure that you check these purple question marks for each field. When I'm reviewing, a lot of times you click on there and it tells exactly what you're supposed to do if it wasn't there. Like if it's a prefix, what do you do? Or a suffix, what do you do? It tells you right there. So it's really important that if you have any kind of question, you look at that. Now, last time I was doing one of these, and here's a good example. So it said something about 1837 or 1838 for the date. So they weren't sure. So in my mind, I thought, oh, you usually go with the first one. I'm sure that's right. And then I thought, maybe I better look it up. It's been a long time since I've had 2 dates and I'm not sure. So what I did is I went to the project instructions, scrolled down, and went to these general indexing guidelines. You click on that, and so if it's a given name, alias name, surname, place name, well, it was a date. So I went to indexing dates. And this will show you what came up. So it says if multiple dates are given for a birth, type the earliest date. And that was what I had remembered. But this was a marriage. If multiple dates were given for other events, type the most recent or latest date. So that was different than what I had remembered. And so if you have a question on the year, the month, the day, and just general information, that's a really good spot to go again to those general, what are they called? General indexing guidelines. A lot of people have questions about overlays. The number of entries per page. What do you do if you have more or less? Tells you right here to add entries, go to this plus icon. A lot of people have questions on that. And if you have too many things, delete entries, use the garbage can. That's a really common thing. People don't know how to get rid of extra entries or how to add entries. And those tools are right here, up here on this toolbar. Okay. We talked a little bit last time about this. This will blank your field. You don't want to use this one. This will blank everything. Don't use that one. This will just put a question mark and say unreadable in that field. But if you can read any of it, please use that. Please use that. If there's, like, if say you could read a C-O-R, and then you could read something, and then you could read E-L, put C-O-R. If it's just one letter, put a question mark and then E-L. If it's more than one letter, put an asterisk. So C-O-R asterisk E-L. And a lot of times you'll even find kind of those not complete names when you're looking at them. And it can at least give you some clues rather than just mark it all unreadable. Give us as many clues as you can for that name. It'll be valuable for someone who's looking for it. All right. Anyone have questions? What do you want to learn about? Don't be afraid to do some of the harder projects. Even if you're a beginner, try some of those intermediate ones. You can always send them back and you don't have to worry about that. You can take a few. They used to let you take 10 of one batch, but from one project, but I think they only let you take 3 or 4 now. I do think you're more accurate the more you work on a project. You get familiar with either the handwriting, either the form, the handwriting, the style, the layout. You might get more familiar with the names of the counties or cities. And that can help. Now on this project, this wouldn't help, but some people don't realize that they can look a few pages back and forth, and that helps sometimes if you're looking with handwriting. Because this one's typed, it doesn't do anything, but it'll show you the documents before. It'll show you 5 before and 5 after, I think. I can't see right now because the Zoom stuff is in the way. And so you can click on those. You don't want to index from those. They say for reference only, do not index. But you can imagine if it's a census record, and so you can see a couple more pages of the handwriting. You're wanting to see what a T looks like, a capital T or a capital S or L. Those get mixed up a lot. You can look at that from these previous and next images. So those are valuable. On some projects, they're more valuable than others. Read those project instructions. Use those purple question marks and the general guidelines. I don't know. What else do you want to talk about? Someone asked me a question. No questions? We got any beginning indexers? Robin, I've heard your name, so I know you're there. When are you teaching your youth?
Janice Summers is on there and she's the one in charge. She's on the class right now, so let's ask her.
Oh, okay.
Are you there, Janice? Oh, maybe she's not.
Maybe she
Actually,
left.
we're doing it Thursday.
Okay. So hopefully those birth certificates, sometimes when we worked with our youth, we try and have, if someone finds an interesting name or an occupation, probably wouldn't be on a birth one, but maybe a parent's occupation, that they just kind of share with that. They like to do that.
I liked the idea of having them in partners.
Yeah, I think that's really valuable. And if you can have an adult with a youth, it makes a really good team. It makes a really good team for a project.
Hey, Karen.
Again, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, all right. I was just going to mention, once in a while, I found it interesting to tackle indexing project that I'm not familiar with that makes me stretch a little bit. Because you can learn about cultures, about history, and then you may end up having to use Google Translate, to find out what people are talking about and records and so forth. So it's a good
Right.
learning experience, as well as, contributing to the indexing community and preparing names and so forth. It's a good educational venture as well.
Right. That's true. And if any of you speak other languages, please, please, please try some beginning indexing or in other languages. They've got all kinds of helps for you. The words that, bless those lives of those people in those other countries, because I had that, let's see, there's 78% of our records are in English. So all the other languages make up for 22% of all the other languages. And so we really need to get some more records in other languages other than English. So if you've got skills in those, or you're willing, like Bob, to go and learn and try to index in other languages, there's help for you, there's classes for you, there's lists of common words that we would use in indexing. And that would be a real gift to those people from other countries. Also, there is Share a Batch. So if you've got a friend or you want to message me or whatever, you can share a batch, and someone can look at your actual batch, which is especially helpful when it's in cursive or you just have a little question about what to do. They say there's like a 10 batch learning curve. It could be even higher than that before you feel comfortable. Again, I've indexed a whole bunch, but every project is new and different and has different fields and has different requirements. And again, imperative that you read the project instructions. If you stay with the same project, you don't have to keep reading as many instructions. So that's also helpful. But sometimes the projects don't stay very long. Like this one, I had told my sister about it, and on Sunday, because I was looking for projects for this class to see what was going to be available and to kind of save some. And she goes, "Oh, that's a great project. I'm going to do that one." But it's practically finished now, or almost all checked out. It probably won't even appear if I go to my favorites. See, it's not even there. So it disappeared really fast, just like in a few days. So I like to try and pick projects that aren't very far along so I can work on the same project for longer. And just get more familiar with that project, especially when it's one I found. I find that all different people like all different projects. So the wills and the probates. I've got to move my, there we go, my Zoom. I especially like marriage records. One reason is because when I'm researching, I really like to find those maiden names and find the parents' names. And so I'm a sucker for a marriage records. But all the records are valuable and need to be indexed. But so they'll show you how far along they are. And like I said, I kind of like to start with ones that aren't very far along, just because then I can work on that project better, longer. That was poor grammar. Anyway.
Karen,
Yes.
can I ask a question?
Sure.
So talk to me about sharing a batch. I need to know a little bit more about that, please. Can
Okay.
you show me how I would
So
do?
let's go back here. So if I'm here and I'm working on this, and I want to, now I'm trying to remember where it is, share a batch. It's right down here under help. That's a good place for it. Okay, so if I wanted to share a batch, I'd copy the link and paste the message, link it into a message to share with a helper. Or if there was someone I could call, I would just give them this right here, this code to help you over the phone. So if someone called me and they said, this is where you find it too, this MSRG1MM, then I could look at this exact thing and they could say, well, I don't understand. I don't know who this is, where it says A. Lindy Min. Is that the witness? Is that the certifier? Is that the officiator? Because it doesn't really tell. And even if I look at pages before and after, I'm probably not going to find them, because look, this looks like it's 116 pages. I don't even know what that says. Z, probably 116 pages. And it's probably not going to give my the title. Here are the previous images. If I like needed to put the number on there or whatever. And I could just say, oh yeah, that's the minister, that's the justice of the peace. So put it under officiator. And then you could be on your way. I think there's like even a Facebook group that's share a page. I haven't tried that, but you could Google that. But basically, if you call someone like maybe a family history consultant in your ward or something, they can look at that and they can help you with that. And you just have to give them, again, this code right here, or it reminds you what that code is when you hit share a batch. Now, if someone says, okay, I'm going to share a batch, then I just can open that batch. So if someone calls me, I hit open share batch and I type the code right in there. I type their code right in there. And then I can look at it. I can't do anything. I can't fill out anything. I can just look at it and give them advice on what they would do. And sometimes
Okay.
that's nice. It's nice if you can do that right while you're working at it. And I have had people call me, and you're welcome to call me. I'll give you
So
my number if anyone wants it. So it's 801-674-5225. So you could just text me, and if I'm not working at the school, I could answer that for you and just look it up and help you with that indexing.
So basically we have to, we just need to have a friend or an expert.
Yeah,
that-
well, it
that
it
we
could just be a
trust.
friend that you want to have look at it again, that you know's done some indexing, or like I say, you have all those consultants in your ward who could look at it and help you.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And you can find, I don't know if, Bob, are they on from here, or do you have to be on a person page to see your, probably on the person page or your starting page? Let's just look here.
To see your consultants.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know it. I know that.
okay. To find the consultants in your ward. But a lot of times, especially when you're starting out, that share a batch can be the difference between you're wanting to continue on or not. Like I say, try and see if there should be a Facebook share batch or something where I think people are available kind of round the clock. That could help with that.
So Janice, are you unmuted, and did you have a question you wanted to ask? Okay, she's unmuted, but there might be a microphone problem. Okay, we're good. Any other questions for Karen this evening?
And I'm happy to go over some stuff we talked about last time. If you want that, we can talk about those. Remember, you have about 10 days when you save a project to finish it. But if you don't finish it and it gets taken back, all your work is saved. So don't think your work is lost. That will be saved. Someone else will look at it and complete it. Sometimes I'll get a batch that's partly done or almost finished. They didn't have a chance to finish it, and then you can look over it and check their work and then submit it. So that your work is always appreciated and saved and still there. It doesn't disappear. It just, they take those back to keep the project moving along. They don't want someone keeping it like for a month or something. So they want to just keep the speed up and keep that project going so they can complete them as quickly as possible. Because once they're completed, then they can get them online and in the family search thing, and people can get those records. With anyone starting, I would suggest doing the guided tour first. There's also a good video that we did just kind of showing about the purpose of indexing and what it is. I showed it last time. It's called Indexing is Vital to Family History Research. The youth would like that one. Or everyone would like that one. I like it. The little guy looks like my nephew, so I usually show it on my beginning indexing classes. Indexing is a work blessed by the spirit of Elijah because it involves service, sacrifice, and saving others. It has a purifying effect. And it's a little bit of a sacrifice of time, but if you think about it, it leads to those temple ordinances being accomplished. In the 1940 census, when that was indexed, the church put together a project where they sent out a record of it. So someone I know got this one. It said, the 1940 census, you indexed 1,512 names. Of those, 172 were added to different trees, and 117 ordinances were reserved. And that's pretty good because on the 1940 census, a lot of those people are still living, and some of those ordinances had already been done. So that shows you that, and that came out just a few years after the 1940 census. Now there would probably be more of those names added to a tree, and more ordinances would have been reserved. So it shows us. I'm excited for the 1950 census. I think it's supposed to come out next year, as well as the 1921 census from England. And we don't care in America about privacy like they do in England, but because ours, we're already can have the 1950 and they're still in the 1920s. So but those projects are coming. I don't know, Bob, do you know, is the church going to help index the 1950 census like we did the 1940?
Yeah, as far as I know,
Okay.
just have to
That's
get it online and ready.
Yeah, that's an exciting thing that's coming up, and we'll give a lot more information. And like I say, I've done a lot of English research, so I'm excited for the 1921 census to come out for my English ancestry. But all these need to be indexed, and every little bit you can do is appreciated and accomplished. Every 5 minutes you can give helps someone somewhere researching their families. Small and simple things are great things brought to pass. And if you look at what's happened with indexing and family history work in general, it's just amazing. And the amount of indexing and family history work that has been done through this pandemic and through the last little bit is amazing. It's amazing. So just want to finish with my thoughts about indexing is that it's great. It's what fuels the family history research. It's what leads to ordinances being done and salvation for those on the other side of the veil. And appreciate you coming tonight, and let me know if there's any way I can help you. Again, indexing is important, and we appreciate your teaching it and sharing it and doing it. And I guess that's
Thank you so
any other
much, Karen.
questions?
Any questions for Karen? While you're thinking, I might put in that next Tuesday we're having our class. It's